Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our lovely wood-floored set. My name is hi-rez Bart. That's the one and only Juice DM, a.k.a. DM Brandon, also known as Brandon Nance. You're not going to ask?
Ask what?
How I know your name?
No, we've been working together
Oh,
for
okay,
a while.
all right. All right, it's
season
season 2.
two.
It's season 2.
Season 2.
We're having perfect Saturdays this season. We know each other's names. It's a different kind of setup
All
here.
the jokes are reset now. We need new jokes.
Got a joke reset? Okay.
I still have a couple weeks until the split actually starts.
Okay, so you got some time to work out your actual jokes because
I'm thinking about
we need
feet
to know
jokes
what
right
the dank memes are for this
dank
next
memes.
set of games. But game number 2 is coming up next, guys. Here, what you're watching is a showdown series of show matches here on the PTS client. So season 2 change preview basically going on. Game number 2, what's Kraken versus Tupac lives again or lives on, or some Coachella reference probably. But can you break down these teams? Who's on him, and why does this matter?
So I think the most notable player for me is going to be Takadi coming out. He was the mid player for Reason Gaming in the 2013 PAX Prime Invitational,
that's
one of the first
Pecky's
tournaments that we actually ran.
That's old school. That's when the production boys were still playing.
That's right. Over on the other side, though, Meerkat, Mask, Jigs, I mean, these are players that you've seen a lot. Herwind, I'm sure you guys all know. Walrus, Soulshiner. Now, it's very strange to me that Mask and Walrus are on 2 separate teams. These are 2 players that have been playing together a lot and who have been kind of grinding chemistry out. But realistically, they're on opposite teams, which is curious.
Well, you know, sometimes there's falling outs over MOBA games, or maybe different skills needed for different roles here.
Sure.
Overall, it looks like a collection of some of the top-ranked players and some of the top players from the Challengers bracket last year, as well as a couple of players that were in the SPL. So, you know, just basically 2 high-level squads trying to kind of figure out exactly how they fit in and what their playstyles are. And as they sort that out, we get the benefit of seeing exactly how they're opening, which I think is probably the most interesting thing about this new map in terms of new players coming to watch. We have several Bluestone pendants, Brandon.
Very
overall,
strong item.
Not a crazy different start. A lot of Hand of the Gods, some Boots 1s, and some starter items. And Freya. Well, I guess Freya's something to talk about. That's a different thing than we've seen in recent times.
I guess in recent times. I mean, Allied brought her into the duo a long time ago. She's been kind of stuck there for a while. And I probably shouldn't say Allied. It was really Pain to Beyond that started it. But he didn't do too well with that.
No. No, it wasn't necessarily the strongest thing. But he was playing it a lot in ranked.
Yeah.
You know, and it was working, which is why he was trying to bring it into tournament play. In
the SPL, he had like a 6-1 or some ridiculous record with the character. He did well, but we did not, get to see it at Worlds because they didn't go to Worlds. Sorry, Ally.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Bluestone pendant is an item I think we're going to see a lot of. What's curious to me is that Hercules made it through and was actually picked very early. He was a first pick in this game. And after his nerf, it's pretty strange to see him be such a priority pick. Taking a lot of damage here. Soulshiner in the jungle fighting out Mask. Mask actually does a beautiful dodge there. As you saw, looks like a rotation in from Kukulkan, a character who I also think will have a pretty good showing in this season.
Yeah, like you were saying about the Hercules pick, it's interesting that once Kraken banned out Nemesis and Osiris and Alquang, allowing the Hercules to get picked up by Tupac, just considering that those are 3 of the better characters in the game against Hercules, and all were banned out by what Kraken didn't draft.
If Hercules hadn't received the nerf this patch, that would have been a kill right there. He had the damage. Yeah.
Extra base damage.
He definitely felt that a little bit. I mean, early game tier loses plain and simple. He just loses to Hercules. As we get to level 9, level 10, most notably level 12, that's when we're really going to see tier become unstoppable. Right now, Awesome to the Max actually utilizing a great strategy here, trying to separate by 60 feet tier from the rest of the creeps to ensure that he doesn't get experience.
Well, let's take a look at the jungle matchup, Brandon, while we're at it here. We got Hunbots, and he's going to be fighting into the Circuit on the side of what's Kraken. Given the changes to the map now, do you favor either of these gods over the other?
I still think Circuit probably is a little bit stronger. I definitely think she gets weaker in the current meta, considering it's much easier to invade on her, and she doesn't really deal with invasions all too well. But she has inherent protection shred, and given the fact that there's no longer penetration on boots, that helps. And not to mention true damage and healing reduction is going to be huge once people start bringing the healers back into play.
Well, you see the junglers rotating into the mid lane here. The mid camp will be coming back up shortly, which will be the next point of contention. Oh, yes, on the right side here. Oh, hit the T button because the ultimate slowdown is on. Meerkat He's going to be running back in the tower. I don't think that there's going to be a pluck coming out from Austin to the max on cooldown, I believe, there. So that's going to end that engagement. So let's check in with the dual lane as we see the support starting to move out and contest these mid camps here. Looking to start from Uller, though. Is that going to be a Transcendent Rush, you think? Or are we looking at a Heartseeker pickup?
It's probably going to be Transcendence. I mean, that
seems like it.
plus the Bluestone Pendant is nigh on infinite mana.
It is infinite mana.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, even Transcendence by itself is going to be basically infinite mana.
Yeah, pretty close.
For everyone except for maybe Uller, just because he has a small base pool and uses a lot of mana.
Yes,
but overall, I mean, the Transcendence yields a lot of power, but versus a Freya, Freya's going to be hitting like a truck really fast compared to this Uller, who's going to take another 2 items probably to really get up to speed versus her in terms of DPS output in the mid game. But let's check it on the left side mid camp here. Walrus in a bit of trouble. The knockup is through as well. There is the poison on top of him, and then that's going to pop, and it's going to go to Alquang as well. Forced out now is going to be Ramoth. No way that he can fight into that. He's going to lose about a 1/5 of his HP pool, and that's going to be, was that both camps for Kraken?
Yeah, I think so. Mask was able to clean up the left one with the Hand of the Gods there. That's a huge win there. The camps plus the kill going to bring them up about 800 gold and about 570 experience, which isn't too bad at this stage of the game.
Well, we're now looking at the sandy beaches of the duo lane now, switching back to the mid lane. But that duo lane matchup, I mean, this Uller versus Freya, I think there's really a lot of trouble here if you're once Kraken. You know, it's good that you're getting this early advantage because this Uller is going to have a hard time dealing with Freya here in about 5 to 8 minutes. I mean, once she gets her boots done and gets her attack speed items online, what is he really going to have to do with just the Transcendence? I mean, once he blows his cooldowns, he's pretty much run away. So he's going to be able to pressure the map pretty freely. May lead to the early Gold Fury for Tupac, but about that 15-minute mark, that Uller's going to start really wrecking the Freya, so it's a short window.
I think Famous Hate is actually playing with a little bit of nerves, too. A couple waves ago, he started tanking the wave up to not let them in. Then he starts tanking damage as well from Freya. The tower actually wound up killing 5 of the 6 creeps, and he took 60% of his health to try to stop
really wants to take this fight. Austin Max about 50% HP. Tier comes over the top. It's nicely placed. The Fearless is blocked, though, by the boulder pull. Here comes the healing. Where's the ultimate from the Cirquette? Still on cooldown. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter. Gets the dash through, finds that kill. Orange buff really factoring into that kill there, just able to chase down the Hercules. He hasn't really finished off much mobility here. You see just picking up the tier 2 boots, so speed buff plus the boots on Cirquette are enough to get the kill. And remember, no penetration on those boots, so that was that's indicative of Hercules not building any early defensive items. That's what happens, even without the penetration. Still, with the nerfs that came into him having some trouble.
Mask, speaking of trouble there, going to get hit by the double ult. Beautiful ult by Takati. That's going to be Romroth. Not really sure why he changed his name.
That is his last name of it.
Oh, is it? Oh.
I think his name is, Josh Romroth, if I'm not mistaken.
Fair enough. Soulshiner also in trouble, will likely go down there to the Path of Flames. Heroine really in no immediate peril, especially with the rotation from Geb. But what you just saw there makes me a little nervous. Austin to the max as he rotates in, does do some damage, and very small amount. The Geb shield was used so early, and
look
now
at the body
he's not
blocks by Jigs.
Yeah,
what a player. Well done. He's going to get taunted out. He may pay with it for his life here, but he definitely secures Heroine's escape unless he tries to re-engage. Here comes a Cirquette, though. Who's going to be the target? These two very tanky frontliners. I'm not sure the Cirquette finds a kill here. Maybe bails Jigs out, and knows he's going to move forward because here comes Meerkat as well. Ultimate is there. Is the Fearless Chain going to be on the mark? Is the ultimate available? Either Meerkat. There is the Fearless Chain. That's an easy... They're making this Hercules look like an easy target to kill.
I mean, you don't want to build what Awesome has built. I mean, generally speaking, boots on Hercules, it's not something you
Yeah,
want
it's pretty underwhelming.
Wingblade, fine. You know, if you want movement speed, Wingblade's going to be your answer, but boots aren't giving you enough damage. Plain and simple. You don't need attack speed. I mean, maybe going into reinforced creeps, but it's 100 health. I mean, what are you really gaining?
Yeah, especially considering that the tier is going to be getting a lot more out of this, well, either heavy hammer or more likely the big HP that he's going to be getting out of
Runeforge, yeah.
Runeforge hammer, which for whatever reason the name was eluding me there. Here we go. Uller in a bit of trouble. It's going to be down to about 100 HP there as Brunk's bomber as well. You've gone a little deep, son. The Athena's going to come in, but it's not going to be in time. And down he goes.
She's
Cirquette.
not.
Mass is just cleaning up here. 4 kills now, and they've come pretty much back to back to back. Seems like every time that he has looked for a gank in about the last 4 minutes, he's found it.
Well, I mean, I think what happened was at the SPL, Cirquette might not have had the best showing. But I don't think that was a weakness in the character. I think that was just players getting outplayed. And I think a lot of players are underestimating how strong Cirquette is in the current meta. Do I think she's still top 2 in the game? Probably not. Do I still think she's top 10 in the game? Absolutely. And right now, Mask is really showing the strength of the character. He's 4-1. He's sitting at almost 5,000 gold, almost 1,000 ahead of anyone else in the game.
Well, by stretching the map out so efficiently with this Circuit, they've definitely made some decent room for Famous Hate, who has got about a 7.5-minute Transcendence with his beads one online, which is a pretty damn decent timing here. It will actually really help him a lot out in terms of dealing with the Freya power curve after Fatalis. With the Transcendence here, as you mentioned, he's going to have near infinite mana. He's going to be able to clear 7, 8, maybe 9 waves before having to go back. Also to Max, he's just getting abused for not having any kind of defensive opening. Mask and Meerkat are going to be able to run him down here, it looks like. He's going to activate the healing. Not taking much damage from the poisons, but here comes the Hunbots for the counter initiation. Mask still trying to charge forward for this, but now forced to fight Soulshiner. The Boulder does a lot, and also to Max, he's gonna kite for a while and live there, but it's not really the style you're looking for when you're picking a Hercules. Not, I'm gonna kite the enemy team and barely make it out alive.
It's normally, I'm gonna kite the enemy team, barely make it out alive, heal myself back on percent, and kill everyone. Teleport coming into the left side here. Awesome to the Max, this one should be free. It looks like, no, Tupac stole that? Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, I guess Jake got in there, Justin. No. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, what happened?
Yeah, well, that's what it said on my screen. Yeah, the guys on Tupac were able to take that one away. I really expected What's Kraken to be able to hold that one down, and they didn't. I mean, and by stole that, I mean, it kind of was theirs to begin with, but for how far behind they were, they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, they could have got bullied pretty easily there, it feels like. I agree with you. I mean, you saw just how much damage that Uller did, erasing the Alquam with his spell progression. All right, Soulshiner, he's in some trouble. Is there enough poison? No. One more in hand, not enough, but in comes the Whale, and out goes Walrus.
For that, though, Soulshiner is going to lose his buff. Now, Soulshiner is a player for me that goes back and forth in terms of whether or not I think he is.
Definitely goes back.
What?
An old player.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been around for a very long time. Like back when I think Allied was still playing for like Root. Yeah. It's crazy amounts. But Soulshiner was considered maybe not very strong at first. He got trained up, started being very strong, and now he is actually a Division I college football player. He's a starter. He was. He's an incredible, he's a huge guy.
Wow. Why is he playing video games on a Saturday?
He couldn't commit a lot of time to the game, and now it seems like he's having more time. But right there, you know, was one of the reasons why a lot of teams weren't picking him up. He has good vision and good understanding of timers and how to gank, but his team fight presence usually is somewhat a little weak. So right there, Soulshiner getting forced out. He's very far right now behind Mask.
Yeah, I mean, just on his positioning overall in this game so far, we've seen a lot of bailing out of his ultimates. Right. Which is basically just indicating that he's not having a good, I guess, nose for where the fight's going to break out, so he's forced to kind of rotate a little bit late, and is using that to bail out the Hercules more often than not, instead of being in position to make a play on the aggression of What's Kraken.
So I think that their whole goal here is that Awesome to the Max is going to try to do a lot of damage and force out maybe an early Beads or an Aegis and then reinitiate. Speaking of initiating again, Soulshiner forced to jump away. Activation of a 3-minute Beads there, going to be on cooldown.
And, you know, one thing I do want to point out here that's a little bit more, I guess, meta game in the true sense is Agni. Every time we see the quote-unquote meta game change with itemization and the way the map works, Agni just rises to the top again as such a dominant mid laner. Yeah. The kid is just so sound and he's just so powerful that anytime that there's some kind of question, if you pick the Agni, it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise. If the items are changing up, what their progression is, how tanky they are at certain points, it's very easy to just blow people up with Agni. And he's just always going to be in that at least A-tier ranking with one of the most guaranteed range studs in the entire game. So. That's
true. Honestly, right now, I'm thinking he's stronger than even A. I think this is the first time that he's not, in my opinion, considered the most balanced god in the game since 2012 when Path of Flames was hitting for twice as much damage and a 2-second stun.
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
That was fun. Remember, duo lane Agnis were very popular back then.
Bakasura.
Yep. The good old days where we had outside lanes and shield buffs.
Oh, Jesus.
Remember green buff, yellow buff Odin?
Yes. Do you?
I do.
Me and my friend DFAT used to play that Odin Zeus there. It was a good time.
Wow. That was. I heard that was a very hard combination. Mask's gonna get initiated on, but he's just gonna beads and leap. I'm not sure about that play.
Well, I mean, he's going for the invades again. Jigs, though, taking a lot of damage. Are we going to see a Cataclysm? I don't know. No, it's on cooldown already, Jigs, so he'll get picked off.
I mean, it's just gotten a little bit difficult here now for What's Kraken. I mean, the Freya's here. Even though that Hunbot's ultimate was used and they didn't find anything out of it, they're still able to secure the kills based on Hercules porting in to that ward behind the fight, as well as the Freya really starting to get her damage together. And of course, with the lockdown from the Agni-Hercules combination with that ultimate from Soulshiner, I mean, it's just so much CC, so much hard CC versus What's Kraken, which has that famous hate axe outside of the heroin.
What in the world?
Yeah, he got ported in on and really didn't do much about it.
Well, I mean, he beats through, makes sure that he didn't get hit by the Hercules, and then he walks back out into the Athena, forces an Aegis onto himself to avoid the shield wall. But why was he running in that direction? Did his monitor turn off?
Maybe he's just a playmaker.
Yeah, maybe.
Right side, 15, 20 seconds, looks like on that mid camp before it comes back up. And I do think there's a ticking time bomb problem here, though, famous hate on this cooler. He's got just a lot of room, hasn't really been contested at all. The mid lane Takadi getting knocked around on the Dragon. In comes the Athena, though, and that's what it seems like temporarily. Serket's going to be there, poison pops onto the Athena, although she's not putting out
no!
AoE
that
over
was,
the top. Is
all
that
right,
enough
so
for Meerkat?
That was a big misplay by Mask right there. They'll probably pick up Soul Shiner here. There could be some trouble as Freya walks in. Yeah, it looks like Meerkat's going to go down. I think everyone kind of saw that one coming. Jigs put himself in a bad spot as well, taking a lot of damage.
Oh, that's
we're going to see Herwin come back in here, but beautiful play by Awesome. Going to be able to clean that one up.
Yeah, and here we see, that this is the power of Freya. Here it is, 13-minute timing. She's got her items online. Boots, Fatalis working into her demonic grip most likely here. Yeah. It's enough. It's enough damage to kill any of these targets right now. No one can duel her except for maybe Famous Hate if she has all of his spells. Will just blow her up, but that's a lot to ask out of a dueler versus a Freya who's going to have a Fatalis. Right? She's going to be able to kite in and out of his axe range very easily.
So I don't know if you caught it in the last engagement, but there was a creep.
Yeah, the minion kill. Yeah.
If Mask had blown that creep up, that damage would have applied to Humbots as well. Instead, not getting it off at all. Mask should have moved forward there. It needs to be a little bit more, I think, just clued in on what the kit's going to do.
Yeah, that's like that. That's like the awareness score on Madden.
What?
It's like the awareness score on Madden. You know about this? Yeah, that's like his awareness was just not there. Needs to have a little bit better. Keeping your eyes up. Is how they call it in sports. Don't look down at what you're doing. You're dribbling or whatever. Keep your eyes up. Look into the rest of the field and that was a little bit of a missight there by Mask.
For me, if that was
that's a big play if he does it.
If that was weakened, everyone would have died.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, he's also one of the higher individual executing skill cap players in North America.
But as we're getting to Season 2, we can't have the excuse that X player's better than me anymore.
That's true.
You had 3 years up until this point to get good at the game. We had a $2.6 million tournament. From what I understand, the goal is to only increase that, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there can't be any, oh, I didn't see it, or oh, I didn't understand this. I mean, we're going at Season 2. You want to be competitive, you got to see the plays.
That's true. Yeah, you gotta find a way to get the kills and find a way to get the wins, if nothing else. But you look at these new metas and these map shifts. Obviously, this is a show match after all. But one of the things that kept the old Dignitas roster, formerly known as Root, formerly Juice, all that together was their ability to play in and after balance changes to the game.
Right.
They were always the strongest team coming out of a balance change. So it can be done, I guess is what I'm getting at here. There's no excuse.
Gold Fury, remember guys, will not reset to 100%. It's 10 health per second. 10% health, so they're trying for it. Meerkat in the back line trying to fight too. He's likely going to get blown up. Does Freya have his ult? Bronx Bomber is going to be able to clean that one up. Looks like there's going to be a 1-for-1 trade so far, but the fight's not very far from over. As you see, Walrus low mana here as Jig's trying to get back to his side of the map. Gold Fury does get taken. As Awesome to the Max tries to fight for it again by Tupac.
Mask's really showing the power of Serket there. Able to take fights in 3 different places and set up 3 different kills. Using that Cobra's Kiss very, very effectively. The CC chain on this character is really strong here. Archer's going to be in trouble. Nice knock-up by the Jigs on the Geb there to prevent that Athena from hitting any more than it had to. He may take a spill here, but if anyone can bail him out, it's going to be 2 range stuns between the Agni and the Serket. It looks like, yes, they will be able to do so. So Jigs gets away with his life, and in the meantime, Uller, he's going to find a tower as well. So definitely a good trade for what's Kraken here as they continue to expand on their lead now. A little over 1,000 gold for their favor.
Did you see Awesome to the Max try for the hot step stun?
Yes.
When you're getting chased and you just backpedal one shot and just drive him into the tower, he's like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And Mask is like, guy, please. And just hits him with the Cobra's Kiss. Like, come on. I'm not that guy.
Yeah, the old Top Gun move. Slam on the brakes and get behind him.
Oh boy, 17 minutes into the game. We actually have a pretty even gold score, only about 700 right now in favor of What's Kraken, thanks to the fact that they have dropped 2 Gold Furies at this stage. But the guys on Tupac Lives On, or whatever absurd, like Bart recommended, Coachella name that has come through, there's still about 6,000 experience and giving them a pretty decent advantage at this stage.
Got a height of the Nemean Lion out for Awesome to the Max. What you know about that?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
You know anything about that? You know, a little bit, maybe?
I mean, it's... No.
Come on, you're DM Brandon. You know something about it. You have an opinion.
I mean, I knew things about that in 2013, back when it was built on
Here's
everyone.
Here's a good question, Brandon. Look at our tanks here. We have sovereignties each. Not that Heartward amulet, I believe, is the magical protection item.
Right, but there is an HP5 aura as opposed to an MP5 aura on the Heartward amulet. So the HP5 a little bit more relevant in teamfight phases.
Yeah, still the same kind of idea as the original
Right.
sovereignty. Makes you better at team fighting.
Yeah.
Also, to point out, Gab does have those reinforced greaves. When was the last time you saw those in a competitive match?
Again, 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah.
But that item is in particular. I tell you right now, you play it on live, you'll be amazed at just how insanely takeable you are when you buy that item.
Yeah.
It's incredibly strong. It gives you a lot of movement speed in the current live version, and even in the PTS here, still even as boosts became less powerful. Let's hold that thought though. Here's a team fight breaking out. Hubot's ultimate use, but they don't actually capitalize on that much at all. Does Tupac lives on, but somehow still they force out what's Kraken just with the spread damage they've dealt. Tupac, well, he's going to live on for now. They're going to take the pressure.
I still can't believe that this Hide of the Nemean Lion was a pick he meant to do. Oh, Freya actually catching the Deathbane. Bounce off the wall, just barely gonna miss, but Bronx Bombers will be able to clean up at least one. He misses 2 shots there, however, and forces himself into a bad spot. Meerkat teleports into what seems like danger, won't really recover much, albeit might be able to save the tower here, but honestly, I don't know if the use of teleport was super worth it there.
Well, the lanes are all pushed up, so probably not, right? He could have probably ported in and got a lot of farm out of some of these stacked up waves. They're going to make their way back, but they're going to lose, you know, a few minions. The tower worth only about 500 gold here. Gold Fury is going to be more important, and the cooldown on that, it's going to be coming up, it looks like right about when the Gold Fury does, so that could be the make or break, right? If whether or not this Hercules can port into a ward near the Gold Fury for the fight.
So, you know, looking at Tyr versus Hercules, at this stage, it's hard to say who should have more damage considering they do different things. Awesome to the Max does have about a 2k damage advantage right now over Tyr. But honestly, with how well Mask has been playing, I think I expect a little bit more from Meerkat. I mean, he should be farther ahead at this point. He's dropped 3 deaths, the same as Mask, but he's been a part of less kills. Mask right now part of 11 compared to Meerkat being a part of 8. He did, however, take the tier 1, but honestly, that was a little bit more to the fact that Awesome to the Max was very far behind to begin with.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons that I don't really love Tyr as a solo laner. I really like him much more as a jungler, even though it's not quite as potent of a role.
Devios does not agree.
It just seems like Blink Dagger is so good on this god that...
Say Blink Dagger.
I did say Blink Dagger. Blink. Blink rank 3, the good one, is just as good, right? I mean, it's so good. At
least it's not Worlds.
I think it's, yeah, right. I think it's better than Teleport to wards, right? Like Teleport 3, it's good for this god. Like it allows him to, you know, get some nice setups, but nothing like the Blink Dagger in terms of controlling the map. And it synergizes better with the Serket in the lockdown.
That's true. I mean, well, Serket, doesn't really have much trouble in synergy anywhere.
That's true.
She has an amazing ranged taunt. Oh, Jig's taking some damage here, forced into a bad spot, forced into the Geb Shield early. Cataclysm going to hit a few as Mass dives to the back. Nothing going to do there from the ultimate coming out from Takati. Not really lining that one up effectively, and it looks like damage is going to be done here. A lot of ultimates used. Only 1 kill so far as Bronx Bombers goes down without using his ultimate. That's a huge misplay.
Oh, fight continues though. Boulder coming through, does a nice bit of damage. Soulshiner looks like he's gonna live. Mass not gonna be able to catch this one with all the mobility in the world. And they gotta be careful though, because the Ullr is starting to make its way to the front lines. Ooh, that arrow just off the mark there. Could have picked up the kill, but just rushing the stroke maybe is famous hate, even with that purple buff. Not gonna get in range. Meerkat finds a nice pluck though. Gonna get some decent damage, yes, and it will be enough to pick up Walrus, and that should lead to the Gold Fury. No problem with tank down.
You know, honestly, that was a really good play for Red. They not only took the Gold Fury, they not only took the kill, rather 2 kills, but they also got a tier 2 as they engaged in that as a 4v5 and still wound up winning it.
17-9 here, 21 minutes in after What's Kraken takes a nice fight and leads into the Gold Fury. The tier 1 as well going to fall. It's going to be, what at the end of the day, probably about a 4,000 gold swing. No, Hercules.
Yeah, he's trying for it. Doesn't want that tower to go down just yet, saving the 500, but he doesn't take much for it, not much used. So
yeah, tower does end up falling though.
Oh, it goes
they charge forward
anyway.
and let the minions kill it.
Ah, jeez.
Wow.
Playmakers. They haven't lost an objective yet, right? Except for the one they didn't fight for.
That's true. I mean, this is a pretty decent.
They're not dancing. That was huge. 2 people just took a huge flame strike right to the gut.
Well, the pools come out. That's going to force out the easy approach.
Soulshiner, please.
Trying to charge through the lava pools. Here comes, that's a nice Cataclysm. It catches him from behind, and the tier stun is here as well. That's going to be a dead monkey. how he makes it out of that. Takani's going to be the one to fall. The poison pops as well, hitting one more. It's the Athena. She's not going to have any healing. They really wanted that probably on the Hercules, however, but he's going to evade it. Mass is going to chase Athena out. They know that's a big kill if they can pick it up, but it's going to be Hercules they turn their attention to. Herwin finds Bronx Bombers in the mid lane as they chase her out of this fight, and this should be a nice Fire Giant for Kraken.
You know, one of the things that's very important is all of the Fire Giant's attacks, except for his basic auto attacks, are dodgeable. Right there, Herwin and Jigs each took a ton of damage there. Everything he's doing at this point is dodgeable. They're not placing the mud down correctly. They would have put themselves in an awkward spot had Hercules jumped in there.
Oh, Meerkat, that's a nice
that needs to be learned.
Approach there. It's going to force Whale back into the rest of the team. Axe just off the mark for Famous Hate, though, does clip the minion. Not going to be able to finish that one off, but they get the primary map objective nonetheless. And what's Kraken looking like? They have a nice opportunity to try to push in. Their gold lead approaching 7,000. Their experience lead is approaching 14,000. It's a very real advantage right now for what's Kraken, and they need to push it, not go back and passively farm.
If they're going to go back, they need to go back as 5, spend the money that they have in hand, and just be done with it. The issue is not many of them have much money in hand at all.
Well, there's not enough wards on the map.
Not by a long shot.
Right, not even close. And now going back and farming, you're just not. They're losing information, right? They could have used information from having all those wards to easily pressure the left side lane. Or find this Freya, or do a number of things. Instead, they're going to pick up their own speed buff and casually push the lanes out. And look how the team is spreading out around the map. They're going to take their orange and their blue again as well. It's just not a consolidated push with the Fire Giant buff. Granted, they have some time here, but the lanes are getting pushed back out. Tupac just buying themselves seconds, even into minutes now, as what's Kraken is failing to really capitalize on their advantage for the moment. But here comes the Geb. He's going to see the Freya now. They start to realize what's going on, but they may have overextended here. It's going to be a 3v2 at least for the moment. Tyr a long way off. Hercules with the teleport as well.
Geb just took a whole bunch of damage and walks out having taken no damage.
Oh, Tyr's ward gets canceled. The active, it does remain off of cooldown, however, because the channel didn't go through, and he will pop into a different ward as we pop around a little bit here. Sorry about that, guys. The push continues to come through. Zoning out is awesome to the max, but Tyr moves on his way with the bubble active on both the Circuit and the Tyr. It's going to be a fairly easy opportunity to get the range. Here comes Initiation Gem, nicely played. The damage coming through from Kerwin as well as Uller. That range damage just so potent on the side of what's Kraken. You can see how deep they've gotten to the back lines. Walrus trying to make the room, but it's not there. Looking to fall. Yes, indeed, he will. It's awesome to the max. The poison is spread onto Soul Shiner as well. They're going to try to chase this one down. Mask, he's charging ahead with the Gem Shield and the bubble for Magi's Blessing. Takani, he's going to take a lot of damage. Dashing through is the Tyr with the Fearless, but he may be able to make it back to the base. He will indeed. Soul Shiner has healed up in the meantime. The Phoenix on the left side looking to fall. Hasn't gone down yet, but it's going to fall. And there it is. The base is broken, and once Kraken is pushing forward.
The damage that Hunbots just did to Tyr was borderline laughable.
Yeah,
honestly, it didn't even look like his health bar ticked, and he definitely hit it. Titan already at 50% here. Soul Shiner gets probably a decent amount of pressure, but no ultimate up for 20 seconds. Jigs looks like he'll live to fight another day. The team goes back in. That's going to be a clean win, and looks like Tupac will live on here as we find out what's Kraken, and that's going to be the health bar.
You saw Jigs build there at the end of the game, the Heartwood Amulet as well as the Sovereignty.
Yeah.
Together, more powerful than the original Sovereignty. Obviously, much more expensive, but
yeah.
the aura, just the aura sustain, the aura protections that they had out of their tank was
25 HP5, 25 MP5, and the Fire Giant buff. Like, you will live forever.
Yeah,
you don't even need a heal.
You saw it in that fight. I mean, the damage that came out of the defense was just not sufficient to even to stall them.
Speaking of damage here, taking a look at the charts here, Walrus way on the bottom at 5,500. Comparatively to it, looks like top actually goes to Mask. 18,600. And I say that with a little bit of surprise because, while he obviously played very well, Circuit is not a character known to put up huge numbers. She's generally very single target.
I feel like he got a lot of poison spread that game.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, even it just spread around fairly well. I mean, he got it onto several targets in multiple fights, which stacks the damage up pretty quickly at the end of the day. That does do it for game number 2 here today, guys. PTS Showdown 2015. $250 on the line for each match. So the bounty going to what's Kraken here. Game 3 coming up next. It's going to be Polyjuice versus the 5 Angry Men.